Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Grim Survival. This is my Bible study reading for the Sabbath. From my understanding, the Sabbath starts on Friday evening and continues into Saturday evening, because the Hebrew calendar actually, from the first books of Genesis, you can see where they start, and there was evening and then morning the first day. So that's why the Hebrew calendar has always been started the day in the evening time, and then, ended the day and started the new day in the evening time. Okay, that's rambling. But, yeah, that's the point. But anyway, it is evening on Friday as I record this. This will be up Saturday morning, day of the Sabbath. So, as I said, Shabbat Shalom. Have you ever listened to Bear Independent? He calls people, he says his Shalomi homies and his Hebrews. And I always thought that was really goofy and just it always made me smile when he said things like that. But yeah, I do still follow along with some of his readings from time to time. I do enjoy him. He really goes into a lot of commentary on it. So a couple of chapters over there takes about an hour or so to get through. So be warned if you ever try to do it. All right, I'm going to start these the same way I've been starting them in the last few videos. I do want to mention I did record one of these Thanksgiving morning. It was recorded live, so if you're having trouble finding that, I know sometimes the live videos are harder to find on the channel for some odd reason, but it should be in the playlist with the rest if you feel like I've skipped something here, because I did do it live Thanksgiving morning, so yeah. Anyway, as I was going to say, I've been starting all of these by reciting the Shema. It's actually considered the most holy prayer in the book. Yeah. It really is considered that. Where did I put my notes? My notes are over here somewhere. Notes. Oh, they're there. But yeah, I might reference my notes later. I just wanted to know where they were. Anyway, the Shema is in Deuteronomy. It starts at chapter 4. And chapter 6, verse 4. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim. Yahweh is one. And you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all of your heart, with all of your being, and with all of your might. Amen. And it continues to say why you should read that, and when you should read that, or recite that, or quote it, pray it, however you want to say it. My book fell. As usual, I am reading out of the scriptures. This is my favorite copy. I have two of these. I have a smaller version. This is the bigger version. This one is, full of good information. This is a complete Bible. It goes through the Old Covenant, the New Covenant, or commonly known as the Old Testament and New Testament. It's all in here. It keeps all the Hebrew. It's basically a more literal translation for those of you who haven't been following along. And I mean, comparing it to my King James Bible, I'll never go back to the King James Bible ever again. I might reference it from time to time. I do like to study, and I do like to look at certain words and how they word it differently in certain texts and certain translations, so I do swap back and forth from time to time. But primarily, the Scriptures is my go-to number one, and will stay that way until probably forever. Hopefully. Hopefully I don't need to find more copies. Maybe I'll get a few more copies of these just to have on hand. One for each child. But anyway, I'm rambling. Yeah, we're 3 minutes in. I haven't read a word. Well, I guess technically I did. Alright, so we left off in Genesis chapter 22. Sarah had conceived and had Isaac, their first son. Their only son, I believe. Her only son. Sorry, I have a security camera sitting next to me, and somebody was tripping the light out there. Just passers-by. Anyway, as I said, we had just left off. Sarah had conceived and bore Isaac, and Isaac was weaned, and we move on from there. So we're starting in Genesis chapter 23 today. And I'm really surprised how many people follow along with this now. I really didn't. I mean, I started this to read this to my children, and I really just didn't think that anyone else would care to listen to this, but it's really surprising, and it's a blessing, and it feels like my channel actually has a reason for being other than me just rambling on about certain topics and showing you, certain things that I do. But this is what I think the primary goal of my channel is to spread the word. This is prepping 101, really is, because this is what we should be prepping the most right here, is prepping ourselves for what is to come. There are very hard times for people like us that are coming, as this book says, and we need to be ready for it. And the best way we can be ready is to know the Word as best we can, to be able to have it with us at all times up here. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm still rambling. Now we're almost 6 minutes in. I still haven't read a word. All right, chapter 23. And Sarah lived 127 years, the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Abra. I still butcher these words. That is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. That's sad. And Abraham rose up from beside his dead and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I am a sojourner and a settler among you. Give me property for a burial site among you, so that I may bury my dead from my presence. And the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Hear us, my master. You are a prince of Elohim among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our burial sites. None of us withholds from you his burial site from burying your dead. And so Abraham rose and bowed himself to the people of the land and the sons of Heth. And he spoke with them, saying, If it is your desire that I bury my dead from my presence, hear me, and approach Ephron, the son of Tashar, for me, and let me have the cave of Machpelah, I guess, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me for the complete amount of silver as property for a burial site among you. So Abraham's buying a burial site in a cave. And Ephron dwelt among his sons of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the sons of Heth, all who entered the gates of his city, saying, No, my master, listen to me. I shall give you the field and the cave that is in it. I shall give it to you in the presence of the sons of my people. Sorry, I'm not reading too well today. I shall give it to you to bury your dead. And Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land, and spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, If only you would hear me, I shall give the amount of silver for the field. Take it from me, and let me bury my dead there. So he was insisting they take the money for it. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, My master, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? So bury your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. Thus the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field of the cave, which was in it, words, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within the surrounding borders, were deeded. So they sold him the land. They were insisting he just take it, but he insisted that he pay for it, and he paid for it, and they deeded it to him. So they deeded it to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Heth before all who went into the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah. I'll never learn that word. Before Mamre. This is Hebron, the land of Canaan. Thus the field and the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham by the sons of Heth as property for a burial site. And that's the end of 23. And I'm having a coffee break. Yes, I did say it was the evening time. I'm drinking coffee in the evening. I really am. Don't ask why. I haven't been sleeping well lately. It's probably because I keep drinking the coffee, but oh well. I'm going to have some pumpkin pie after this. You didn't need to know that. But you do now anyway. Alright. Chapter 24 is a long one, but yeah, we'll get through it. And Abraham was old, advanced in years, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in every way. And Abraham said to the oldest servant of his house, who ruled over that he had, Please put your hand under my thigh, so that I make you swear by Yahweh, the Elohim of the heavens and the Elohim of the earth, that you do not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell, but to go to my land and my relatives and take a wife for my son Isaac. Excuse me. And the servant said to him, What if the woman refuses to follow me back to the land? Do I then take your son back to the land from which you came? And Abraham said to him, Beware, lest you take my son back there. Don't take my son back there, basically. Yahweh, Elohim of the heavens, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my relatives, and who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, To your seed I give this land. And he sends his messenger before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman refuses to follow you, then you shall be released from this oath. Only do not take my son back there. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. And the servant took 10 of his master's camels and left, for all his master's good gifts were in his hand. And he arose and went into Aram Naharaim, to the city of Nahor. Words. And he made his camels kneel down outside the city by a fountain of water at the evening time. And when women go out to draw the water. So apparently the women go out to draw water in the evening time. And he said, Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, please cause her to meet before me this day, and show loving commitment to my master Abraham. See, I am standing here by the fountain of water, and the daughters of men in the city that are coming out to draw water. Now let it be that the young woman whom I say, Please let down your jar to let me drink, and she says, Drink, and let me water your camels too. Let her be the one for whom you have appointed for your servant Isaac. And let me know by this that you have shown loving commitment to my master. And it came to be, before he had ended speaking, that, see, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, I guess, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her jar on her shoulder. Now, the spelling of Rebekah in this book is Ribqah, oddly enough. But you can see how it came to be from that. 16. And the young woman was very good looking, a maiden, no man having known her. And she went down to the fountain, filled her jar, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, Please let me drink a little water from your jar. And she said, Drink, my master. And then she hurried and let her jar down to her hand and gave him a drink. And when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, Let me draw water for your camels too, until they had finished drinking. She hurried and emptied her jar into the trough, ran back to the fountain to draw water, and then drew for all his camels. And watching her, the man remained silent in order to know whether Yahweh had prospered his way or not. And it came to be, when the camels had finished drinking, that the man took a golden nose ring weighing half a shekel, and 2 bracelets for her wrist weighing 10 shekels of gold, and said, Whose daughter are you? Please inform me. Is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? And she said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, Micah's son, whom she bore to Nahor. And she said to him, We have both straw and fodder enough, and room to spend the night. And the man bowed his head and worshipped Yahweh. 27. And he said, Blessed be Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his loving commitment and his truth toward my master. As for me being on the way, Yahweh led me to the house of my master's brothers. Then the young woman ran and informed those of her mother's house these matters. And Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban, and Laban ran out to the man to the fountain. And it came to be, when he saw the nose ring and the bracelets on his sister's wrist, and when he heard the words of his sister Rebekah, saying, "Thus the man spoke to me," that he went to the man and saw him standing by the camels at the fountain. And he said, "Come in, O blessed of Yahweh. Why do you stand outside? I myself have prepared the house and place for the camels." So the man came into the house while he unloaded the camels and provided straw and fodder for the camels and water to wash his feet and the feet of the men who were with him. I find it odd that he's referred to as the servant the whole time, and it was never actually named in the book. 33. And set food before him to eat. But he said, "Let me not eat until I have spoken my word." And he said, "Speak on." And he said, "I am Abraham's servant, and Yahweh has blessed my master exceedingly, and he has become great, and he has given him flocks and herds and silver and gold, and male and female servants and camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and he has given him to him all that he has. And my master made me swear, saying, Do not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwelt, but go to my father's house and to my relatives, and take a wife for my son. And I said to my master, What if the woman does not follow me? But he said to me, Yahweh before whom I walk sends his messenger with you, and shall prosper your way. And you shall take a wife for my son from the relatives from my father's house. Then when you go to my relatives, you are to be released from this oath. And if they do not give her to you, then you are released from my oath. And this day I came to the fountain and said, Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, please, if you are prospering the way in which I am going, see, I am standing by the fountain of water, and when the young woman comes out to draw water, and I say to her, Please give me a little water from your jar to drink, and she says to me, Drink, let me draw water for your camels too. Let her be the woman whom Yahweh has appointed for my master's son. I see the need why he's telling the story, but to reiterate it to me after just reading it a minute ago kind of is daunting, to say the least. All right, 45. I have not yet ended speaking in my heart. Then see, Rebekah was coming out with her jar on her shoulder, and she went down from the fountain to draw water. And I said to her, Please let me drink. And she hurried and let down her jar from her shoulder and said, Drink, and let me water your camels too. So I drank, and she watered the camels too. And I asked her and said, Whose daughter are you? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Naor's son, whom Micah bore to him. Then I put the nose ring on her and the bracelets on her wrist. When I think of a nose ring, I think of one of those hoop things. Like, did he have to pierce her? Questions. And I bowed my head and worshipped Yahweh and blessed Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, who had led me in the true way to take the daughter of my master's brother for his son. And now, if you are going to show loving commitment and truth to my master, let me know, and if not, let me know, so that I turn to the right or to the left. And Laban answered Bethuel too, and said, The matter comes from Yahweh. We are not able to speak to you either evil or good. See, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as Yahweh has spoken. And it came to be, when Abraham's servant heard their words, that he bowed himself towards the earth before Yahweh. And the servant brought out ornaments of silver and ornaments of gold and garnishments, and gave them to Rebekah. And he also gave costly gifts to her brother and to her mother. And and he and the man who were with him ate and drank and spent the night. When they arose in the morning, he said, Let me go to my master. But her brother and her mother said, Let the young woman stay with us a few days, at least 10, and then you go. And he said to them, Do not delay me, since Yahweh has prospered my way. Let me go, so that I go to my master. And they said, Let us call the young woman and ask her. So they called Rebekah and said to her, Are you going with this man? And she said, I shall go. So they let go Rebekah their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, Let our sister become the mother of thousands, of tens of thousands, and let your seed possess the gates of those who hate them. And Rebekah and her young women arose, and they rode on the camels and followed the men. So the servants took Rebekah and left. And Isaac came from the way of the Beer, B-E-'-E-R, so it's beer. Yeah. He came from the beer. Some of these names really are hard for me. They really are. Anyway, and Isaac came from the way of Beer, Lethal, Roah, for he dwelt in the south. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field in the evening, and he lifted his eyes and looked and saw the camels coming, and Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from her camel. And she had said to the servant, Who is the man walking in the field to meet us? And the servant said, It is my master. So she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all the matters he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her. Thus Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Interesting how they took wives, isn't it? If we took wives that way nowadays, I think there would be some legal proceedings involved. Alright, let's keep this PG. I'm going to go ahead and read 25 just because I feel like reading more, and I'll take you along with. That was loud. Alright, chapter 25. And Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimran. I guess he did have more sons. And Yoshan, and Medan, and Midan, and Yishbek, and Shua. This is one of those begots, isn't it? It is. Alright, I'm going to get through it as best I can, but we're going to butcher some words. And Yeshadam brought forth Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Asherim and Letzarim and Limana. And the sons of Midan were Ephah and Epher and Hanok and Abida and Edia, and all these were the children of Cortera. Close enough. Now Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac, but the sons of the concubines whom Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and sent them away from his son Isaac eastward to the land of the east. And these are all the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 175 years. And Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, aged and satisfied, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael, buried him in the cave of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the field of Ephron, son of Hosar and the Hittite. Tosar the Hittite. The field which Abraham purchased from the sons of Heth, there Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. It actually says Sarah, his wife. I don't know why I read that wrong. And it came to be after the death of Abraham that Elohim blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt in Beer Leah Roi. And this is the genealogy of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Mitzrayite, Sarah's female servant, bore to Abraham. And these were the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their generations. The firstborn Ishmael, Neborah, then Kedar, and Ebedel, and Mibsam, and Misham, and Duma, and Mesa, Hadar, Tema, Yatar, Nepish, and Quedama. I butcher names. Hebrew names are not my strong suit for sure. These were the sons of Ishmael, and these were the names by their towns and their settlements. 12 chiefs according to their tribes. The 12 tribes of Israel, I believe, is what this is referring to. I really dislike these genealogies and all these names, mainly because they're hard for me to read. And these were the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years, and he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people. And they dwelt from Hawilah as far as Shur, which is east of Mitzrayim, as you go toward Asher. He settled before all his brothers. And this is the genealogy of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham brought forth Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah as his wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Amram of Padan, Amram, sister of Laban and Amorim. And Isaac prayed to Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And Yahweh answered his prayer, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And within her the children struggled together. And she said, "If all is right, why am I this way?" So she went to ask Yahweh. And Yahweh said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two people shall be separated from your body. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and let the older serve the younger." And when the days were filled for her to give birth, see, twins were in her womb. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment. So they called his name Esau, like a hairy garment. Okay. And afterward his brother came out with his hand holding on to Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. It's actually spelled Jacob in this book. And Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew up, and Esau became a man, knowing how to hunt, a man of the field, while Jacob was a complete man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau, because he ate of his wild game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. And Esau said to him, "Jacob, please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary." That is his name was called Edom. That is why his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright today." And Esau said, "Look, I am going to die, so why should I have a birthright?" Then Jacob said, "Swear to me today." And he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. And Jacob then gave Esau bread and stew of lentils. And he ate and drank and rose up and left. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Well, there's something to be said about brothers, because I have two of them, and we have had some scuffles. We'll put it that way, scuffles. Brothers are always, I don't know, button heads, I guess you could say. You'll notice it if you have kids, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a thing of brothers to be butting heads. The story definitely gets more interesting from there between the two brothers for sure. But like I said earlier in this video, I have some pumpkin pie that needs my attention. It goes well with my coffee. My wife made it homemade for Thanksgiving. I hope everyone enjoyed the reading. I thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the encouragement to keep doing this, because this has been very hard for me to do. I don't read well publicly, and I don't read well out loud, but I don't know. Through the blessings of the Father, my channel is growing, and I believe it is through Him that it is growing. And because of this, I don't think it would grow as much or have grown at all without me reading these, and I think it has been a great blessing to me and my family to do so. So I hope you enjoyed the reading, and like I said, this is James. I'll see you for the next one.